Good morning, fellow NOAC supporters, and thank you for joining us here for our very first New Year's resolution, going vegan on Wednesdays. Vegan Wednesday is not just about food, it's also about not wearing something that comes from animals or using animal-based adhesives or dyes. On Wednesdays, if you decide to participate, you won't eat or wear or use anything that is based on or come from animals. This is to help stop animal cruelty in every single way possible. Let's look at some of our Vegan Wednesday supporters and hear what they are saying about it.
Hello, I'm Mimi from Fitchburg, Wisconsin. Giving up animal products can be difficult, but by participating in Vegan Wednesdays, you can help put a stop to animal cruelty.
Hi, I'm Jackson from Verona, Wisconsin. I am here to support Vegan Wednesday because I don't want to see animals being hurt and I would like them to be happy.
Hi, I am Nanda from New Jersey. I support Vegan Wednesdays because I don't want animals to be hurt, and seeing them happy motivates me to go vegan on Wednesdays.
Hi, I am Sanvi from Middleton, Wisconsin. I support Vegan Wednesdays because I believe that animals should be respected and cared for by humans.
Why did you choose to go vegan?
So I chose to go vegan because of my passion for animal liberation as well as environmental activism and human liberation. For me, all three of those things are really interconnected and they're all things that I'm very passionate about. And I sort of see, when I look at things like factory farms and other processes where animals are continually exploited on a systemic basis, I see that a lot of that also affects humans and the environment as well. And so that was my biggest motivation for going vegan.
That's awesome. So at first, how was it not to consume dairy? And was it tempting to go back to consuming dairy?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I'm not going to lie, it was really hard. I think a lot of people would agree that dairy is one of the most difficult things to give up, especially for me, like coming from Wisconsin. Obviously, dairy was a big part of my childhood. And when I went vegan in 2017, there were not actually a ton of really great dairy substitutes on the market. So a lot of it was just, instead of dairy, what can I use here? For example, I really like eating palak paneer, which is a popular Indian dish, as you know. So instead of using paneer, I would substitute that with tofu. And slowly I started incorporating more of those substitutes into dishes that I was already eating. And pretty soon I realized that there were a lot of ways that I could continue eating the same stuff I enjoyed that previously contained dairy without having to actually eat dairy. So once I started doing that, it was a lot easier for me to, maintain a plant-based diet without craving dairy or missing it.
Awesome. So what were some of the challenges you faced becoming vegan? I know you just talked a bit about that, but can you give us some more info about some of the challenges that you faced?
Sure. As far as eating a plant-based diet goes, I think a big challenge with that is, sometimes when you're going out to restaurants with friends, they might pick a restaurant that doesn't have a lot of vegan options, and maybe the only thing there is a salad or fries that you can get. And obviously, you don't want to eat that for every meal. So I think something fun that I started doing to kind of counteract that is hosting potlucks, and I would, inspire everyone to create a dish that was plant-based, and we would all eat it together. And then also introducing some of my friends to vegan restaurants. And it was actually really great because a lot of my friends who aren't vegan then would have the option to try vegan food. And then as far as, some of like the emotional and mental aspects of veganism, it can get really lonely sometimes when you feel like you're the only person who's so passionate about all of these causes. And, you don't really see that any other people in your life share that. So I think for me, something that really helped was joining clubs like the one that you started. When I went vegan, I was in college, and at my college, there was this organization called Compassion, Awareness, and Responsible Eating. So I joined that, and it was just so great to connect with a community of like-minded people, and then partake in animal activism together. So those things like really helped me and made me feel less lonely as a vegan.
Awesome. Why did you create the Lish Life, and was it to spread like information about that, veganism is not just about eating nothing. It's about it's just like that you can have many foods, it's just in a different way.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. When I first went vegan, I think I talked a little about this when you asked about dairy, but a big part of it for me was finding a way to enjoy the dishes that I'd been eating my whole life, but just make them a little more compassionate and a lot more plant-based. And so that was the whole motivation for starting the Lish Life. I wanted an easy way to be able to share these recipes with initially friends and family, and then after that, a broader global audience. And I think it's just a really great way and a fun way to engage people in veganism, because what holds a lot of people back is the food. I think some people can understand that, animals deserve to be treated with respect, that, eating a meat-heavy diet can be harmful for the environment, but they don't know how to take that first step of sort of changing their diet because they're so used to, like I was, eating dairy or eggs or meat with every meal. So I think with showing people that there are creative and fun ways to continue enjoying their favorite foods, that inspires them to go vegan. And that's really the goal with everything I'm trying to do.
Awesome. So now that you just talked about that, so many times I've heard this phrase that if you're vegan, you're very slim because you don't eat anything. And so I've heard so many people say that. And I just wanted to ask, how can is there a way that you can tell people who think that way that veganism is not just about eating nothing, that there are so many ways, and I know that's also part of Lish Life and how that works. So do you think you could tell us a bit more about that?
Sure. And yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up because I think it's actually a really harmful stereotype because as you and I both know, vegans come in all shapes and sizes. And when people act like, vegans have to look a certain way, what that really does is that erases the people who don't look like that. And I think that's really harmful as far as the inclusivity of veganism goes. So what I like to tell people is just remind them that veganism, like any other lifestyle choice, has people of all backgrounds and all types of even dietary backgrounds backing it up. So you don't have to, you don't have to only eat salads to be vegan. I think that's a food that's, often associated with skinniness. If you're a bodybuilder, you can still be vegan and get, all your macros and your protein through a plant-based diet. We've come truly so far in the plant-based food world where we now have completely plant-based protein powders, so you can make protein shakes. And, even if you're just trying to stick to sort of like protein-packed dinners, tofu is a great option, as well as seitan. So I think it's, that's another really harmful misconception that's out there about veganism. And I think it's, our job as vegans who have a platform to educate people about ways that they can continue to strive for, the lifestyle and the fitness level they want while being vegan.
Awesome. So the other last question that I had was, many times I've also heard this stereotype that when you're vegan, you don't get that much nutrition because, milk and and meat has a lot of protein, blah, blah, blah. So what is your advice in terms of what are some of the protein or more nutrition based or filled like products that are vegan that like you recommend, like soy milk or almond milk? Like what are some of those like small or one or a couple of products that you recommend that has a lot of nutrition but is vegan, so that stereotype would also stop?
Sure. I think the first and easiest thing is when you're vegan, ideally you'll be eating a lot more fruits and vegetables. Those are obviously powerhouses of nutrition with various benefits for your health. And then it's really interesting that you bring up milk because actually, if you look at some of the research that other vegan organizations have done, and even just doctors, milk can actually be really bad for some people's health in some cases. And the reason that we are taught to believe that, milk or eggs or meat are good for us is because those industries put a lot of money into advertising. And so I think the first step to seeking good, nutritious food as a vegan is to sort of divest from those stereotypes, and then go back to, just focusing on eating a vegetable or fruit heavy diet, and then adding in some of your core protein sources like tofu, which I mentioned before, seitan, milk alternatives. There's lots of nut milks now. There's oat milk. And all of these products usually are fortified with calcium, as is normal cow's milk. So you don't really have to worry about missing out on those nutrients from those sources. And then the other thing I recommend for all vegans, and this is advice that I've gotten from plant-based dietitians, is to take B vitamin supplements, as well as iron supplements, especially when you're first starting out as a vegan, because I think it's very easy to not end up getting the nutrition you need when you first go vegan because you don't really know what to eat. So I think supplementing is definitely important.
Awesome. So can you share one of your favorite recipes that is vegan from the Lish life with us?
Sure. So as I mentioned before, I used to really love paneer, and I still love it, except now instead of using real paneer, which is made with dairy, I make it with tofu. And I have a couple recipes on my blog for various vegan paneer dishes, but I would have to say that my favorite is palak paneer, which is a creamy spinach-based gravy. And in it, you put the paneer, which in my case is tofu that I season and bake to taste more like traditional paneer. And that is definitely, one of my go-to comfort dishes. I have the recipe on my website, and it's, tried and tested among a lot of my omnivore friends and family. They love it too. So it's one that I definitely recommend to everyone.
Awesome. And I will also link the Lish Life website to the description if you guys want to take a look at it. Vegan Wednesday is going to be fun, everyone. It starts this Wednesday and goes on for however long you want to participate in it. Please participate if you can, and we will see you in the next video.
Bye.